Act 2, Scene 6, the elopement scene in The Merchant of Venice, that's part of the ICSE Class 9 and 10 syllabus for English literature. This particular scene is important from the examination point of view because of several passages spoken by Jessica, Lorenzo, Graciano, Salarino, which kind of are relevant not just to Act 2 but also to the overall context of the play. So I would urge you to pay attention, mark the passages, understand each and every word, and also understand the relevance of those passages. This particular scene takes place just outside Shylock's house. We have already seen the arrangements being made for Jessica to elope with Lorenzo, and that's what essentially plays out in this particular scene. Now, Graciano and Salarino have already arrived at the place near Shylock's house where Lorenzo has told them to arrive in order to meet them, in order to facilitate the elopement of Jessica with Lorenzo. And Graciano says this is the penthouse under which Lorenzo desired us to make stand. Now, penthouse essentially refers to a porch kind of a thing, a balcony kind of a place. And Salarino says his hour is already past, that is, he's already running late. And Graciano says, and it is marvel that he outdwells his hour, for lovers ever run before the clock. Now, he's saying that it is rather surprising that he's running late because lovers are usually early to reach any particular place. And Salarino says, oftentimes faster Venus pigeons fly to see love's bonds new made than they are wont to keep obliged faith unforfeited. Obliged faith means marriage promises and unforfeited means unbroken. Now, these lines of Graciano along with Salarino are important. So, the two can come as a passage and you could be asked to explain the reference to context, right? Now, Salarino here is saying that for new lovers, time passes actually 10 times faster than for couples who are already married for a rather long time. Now, Salarino basically also making the comparison to Venus pigeons. Now, Venus is the goddess of love and her chariot is kind of drawn by pigeons, right, by doves. So, here Salarino is saying that the doves that draw the chariot of Venus, the goddess of love, actually fly 10 times faster when they are journeying to kind of look for new love or kind of have a binding of new love than when they do when the love is already taken for granted, when it's already been attained, when it has already been pledged or promised, right? So, making the difference between them. So, Salarino indirectly what he is insinuating, what he is kind of drawing the reader's attention to is that now that Jessica has already professed her love for Lorenzo, has already said it in so many words that she belongs to Lorenzo, Lorenzo is therefore not so faithful, which is why he is not even taking the effort to arrive at that particular spot on time or before time, right? So, that is the insinuation he is making, and then Graciano speaks these lines, and Graciano's lines are very important. That ever holds who riseth from a feast with that keen appetite that he sits down. Now, he's actually drawing comparisons with various other kind of incidents or various other kind of people in order to also emphasize the point that Salarino has made. Now, Graciano says that's always true, that ever holds. Who gets up from a meal with the same appetite he had when he sat down? Obviously, when we are hungry, we sit down for a feast, for a lunch, for a dinner with a lot of enthusiasm and energy because we are hungry. But when we are getting up, obviously, it's not with the same amount of enthusiasm. So, Graciano is here referring to that. Then he makes a second comparison. Can any horse retrace his footsteps with the same energy that he had when he walked them the first time? He says that we chase everything in life with a lot more enthusiasm and excitement than we actually enjoy it when we get it, right? If you are looking for a new kind of a game or a new mobile phone, before you get it, there is a lot of enthusiasm for it. But once you get it, maybe used it once, you are got familiar with it, the same enthusiasm is never there. And that's what Graciano is pointing out in these lines. He says, it's like a ship that sails out of the harbor with all its flags waving. gently pushed by the winds. These lines are important. Please mark them. Okay. So when the ship sails out of the harbor with all its flags waving, because the wind is providing it with the momentum and the energy. However, when the same ship returns to the harbor, you find that her entire timber, the entire ship structure is kind of very weather beaten because of being exposed to the elements out at sea, and the sails of the ship are a little ragged. Now the same wind actually makes the ship look in a poor kind of a condition. Now out here, prodigal means a wasteful person, right? How like a yonker or a prodigal, a wasteful person, a spendthrift of sorts. Over weathered ribs means storm beaten sides, ragged sails means tattered sails of the ship, rent means torn, and beggared means in an impoverished condition. Now do not get confused just because if you get a passage and you see Gratiano speaking these lines, do not get confused that he is referring to the ships of Antonio. Okay, the rat risk certainly is there. Students can get confused, so I am kind of forewarning you, be very careful that this particular reference of Gratiano to ships is in the context of the love affair between Lorenzo and Jessica. Okay, at that point in time, Lorenzo enters. Right, and Lorenzo enters and they say that okay, let's not speak in his presence, let's discuss this sometime later. And Lorenzo says, my dear friends, and he's very apologetic. He says, I'm very thankful for your patience. Some business made me late, but when you need to find your own wives, you know, when you shall please to play the thieves for wives, steal for wives, it doesn't mean that you're stealing something in order to get a wife. No, when you have to make the effort to go ahead and find a wife. We do know it for a fact that Gratiano is a bachelor, right? So I will wait for you just as long as you have waited for me right now. So he says, come here, my future father-in-law, that is Shylock's house is here. And that's when Jessica appears on the balcony and she's dressed as a boy. Now remember, cross-dressing is an important part of the narrative as far as MOV is concerned. We find Jessica cross-dressed as a boy out here, and later on in the trial scene we will find both Portia and Nerissa also cross-dressing as men. So basically in Shakespearean times, cross-dressing seen not as a point of humor but as an element of not deceit but as an element of trying to hide your own identity, right? So that's what is done, and it's quite significant that all the three principal female characters, Jessica, Portia and Nerissa, all three of them during the course of the play, Shakespeare makes them cross-dress as men, right? So it also shows that in order to kind of achieve something, if you see the course of the play, in order to achieve something, Jessica, in order to get the love of Lorenzo, or rather get married to Lorenzo, Portia in order to Portia and Nerissa in order to ensure that Antonio is safe during the trial scene, they need to kind of transform from women to men. So it also shows that men are the ones who actually wield power, which is why the women also have to transform themselves into men in order to be able to achieve something. That is a larger point that Shakespeare is perhaps trying to make, or that's a larger interpretation or analysis that you would need to know as far as the entire context of the play is concerned. So if you get a scene passage from the elopement scene, make sure that you also refer to this entire thing of cross-dressing and how you can analyze it using all these points that I have just now mentioned. Jessica says, who are you? Tell me for more certainty, albeit I will swear that I do know your tongue. Albeit means although, tongue referring to voice. She says, who are you? Tell me so that I can be sure, although I do recognize your voice. So he reveals his identity, saying that I am Lorenzo, your love. Lorenzo, that's for sure, and I am also sure that you are my love. Who else do I love so much? And now, who but you knows whether I am yours? So basically, again professing her love for Lorenzo. And he calls on the heavens, the gods as his witness. He says, they know you are mine, right? You also know you are mine. Now Jessica says, catch this casket, the box. And he says, it will be worth your while. Why? Because later on we realize that she has taken away a lot of the money and the jewelry from Shylock's home. And later on we see Shylock getting extremely upset as a result of that. She says, I'm very glad it is night time and you cannot see me because I'm ashamed of my disguise, that is my cross-dressing as a boy. But then love is blind. Okay, but love is blind. The use of the word but is significant. I'll come to that in a moment. She says, but love is blind and lovers cannot see the silly things that they do around each other, right? And if they could, Cupid, the god of love, Venus is the goddess of love, Cupid is the god of love, himself would be embarrassed to actually see me dressed as a boy. But she uses the word but before love is blind. But love is blind, meaning to say that while I'm glad that it is night time, even if it was daytime, right, lovers are too blind to see and observe each other's faults. Okay, Lorenzo says, descend because you need to be my torchbearer as part of the masquerade. Jessica says, what? Must I hold a candle to my shames? They in themselves good sooth are too light. Why, it is an office of discovery, love, and I should be obscured. Now, obscured means that I ought to be concealed. My identity should not be revealed. So, hold a candle to means do I need to hold up a candle to reveal my true identity. Shames means this rather embarrassing, shameful dress that I am wearing in order to be cross-dressed as a boy. Good sooth means indeed, right? Are too light. Now, light obviously means, the shameful dress is indeed too obvious. Also, light refers to the, the fact that she is feeling embarrassed about being dressed as a boy. Now, she's saying that do I need to hold up a candle so that people can see what I am doing, that is cross-dressed as a boy. The truth is that I am behaving like a bit of a loose woman, and the torchbearer is essentially supposed to bring light and love, but I should be hidden away in the dark. That is, the torchlight should not fall on me and reveal my true identity. Lorenzo says, you are you sweet, even in the lovely garnish of a boy. Garnish means costume of a boy. So he says, you are hidden away, your identity is not revealed, hidden in the costume of a boy. Come on quickly, time flies away quickly, because we are also awaited at supper at Bassanio's residence. I will lock up the doors. I will make fast the doors, that is lock up the doors, and gild myself. Gild myself is an important line. Enrich myself with some more ducats. So she wants to take some more money out of Shylock's house and be with you straight. And Jessica exits from the balcony, where she is kind of first appearing. And Gratiano says, oh, by my hood, a gentle and no Jew. Now, he is kind of complimenting her, saying that, she can't be a Jew because she's just too nice. So, he's kind of perfectly okay with the fact that she's eloping, which may not have been considered the right thing to do or the most moral thing to do, at least in Shakespearean society, in Shakespearean times. But also, what is more significant is that he is also using the phrase by my hood. Now, in those times, some people also had a habit of swearing by the clothes that they wore. So, it obviously means that Gratiano was wearing a hood at this particular point in time during the scene. Lorenzo says, bishrew me. Bishrew means curse me if you like, but it's a mild kind of swearing. But I love her heartily, for she is wise if I can judge of her. So, he says, I'm absolutely crazy about her. She's wise if I'm judging her right. She's beautiful if my eyes can actually see. And she's loyal as she has proven. Loyal to him. Perhaps not so loyal to her father, right? So, there is a difference. And as long as she is herself, that is wise, fair and true. That is wise, beautiful and faithful. She'll always have a place in my heart. Okay, constant soul. And that's when Jessica now enters at the same level as these people are. So, she says, oh, you are here. Come on, gentlemen. Our masquerade mates are waiting for us. And everyone exits except Gratiano. And at that point in time, Antonio enters the scene and he says, where is everyone? He said, it's already 9 o'clock, because we know that Bassanio had made arrangements for supper from 5 p.m., right? So, it's already 9 o'clock, and he says there is no masquerade tonight because the winds are favorable, and therefore Bassanio has decided to leave for Belmont immediately, and therefore I have sent some 20 people out to look for you, Gratiano, because Gratiano had told Bassanio in the previous scenes that he also wants to accompany Bassanio to Belmont, right? So, he said, I'm glad on it and I will want to head out tonight as well. So, that's as far as this scene is concerned. The important element of this scene also is the fact that Jessica is robbing Shylock, her father, of both ducats and precious jewelry. So that's something significant which happens out here. What does the scene reveal about Jessica is the most important aspect, that she's, of course, what Lorenzo describes her as wise, true and fair. Also her shyness and embarrassment at being cross-dressing as a boy. But at the same time, she's also displaying some element of treachery, at least as far as her relationship with Shylock, her father, is concerned, because she's openly stealing her father's precious money and jewelry and giving away to Lorenzo, obviously feeling that it's completely justified, right? So one analysis could be that she probably does not have a true appreciation of the hard-earned money of Shylock, right? And she only knows at the same time Shylock's jewels, value of Shylock's jewels, because she seems to have picked up the most expensive jewels from his collection and given them away to Lorenzo, right? So that's something which is very important out here, so that you must be aware of. And about Graziano, the kind of words that he speaks about Lorenzo, that particular passage is also important. So I do hope Act 2 Scene 6 is absolutely clear, and there wouldn't be any issues with this. But as I said, this scene and at least those passages that are marked out, highlighted, you need to understand them well and make your point, so that if any passage comes, you are on absolutely comfortable and sure ground. Thank you very much for watching. All the scenes of Merchant of Venice, all the explanation videos are there in the playlist, so please look out for them and understand MOV very well. High scoring MOV, do not think that you will actually lose marks in MOV. If you do MOV well, you have a very good chance of scoring 16 out of 16 in any question that you attempt. Thank you very much. God bless you.